and welcome to the Pod Like a Pro podcast.
This is a podcast that shares with you tips, tricks, and personal experiences so that you can podcast like the professionals.
This time you're going to hear about the importance of having a go and learning from experiences. By the way, I'm Nat, and I'm recording this episode on Gumbaynggirr country.
And I'm Liz, and I'd like to acknowledge the storytelling traditions of the Awabakal people, the country where I'm recording from today.
We've talked about how podcasting is a skill and a craft that you learn by doing.
And we have definitely learned a thing or two over the past few years of making podcasts for our clients, also from making this podcast for ourselves, and of course the decades that we have worked in radio.
And we really want to share what we've learnt with you because we also believe that it's important to tell the truth and be your authentic self, warts and all.
So we are going to be our authentic selves in this episode and tell you about some of the things that we have been trying recently, some of the things that have worked, some of the things that haven't worked. And what we really want to do is sort of break it down into three main points of what we have learned and what we want to share with you today, which are...
Well, the first one is that it's good to try new things. The second is it's okay to change if things aren't working. And the third point is, and the main thing to celebrate, is that you're on a journey of continual improvement. You're looking to serve your audience by improving what you're doing over time.
Which is great. So those are the three main things we want to talk about today. And the first one, we're going to break it down and we're going to tell you why we have personally learned about these things. And the first one is that it is good to try new things. And for us, in podcasting, there is a lot of new things happening all the time as it is a emerging technology, as is so many different things that you see in the digital sphere. And so for us, working with video is something that is slightly more new than working with audio. We've been working with audio for a very, very long time. But video has sort of become bigger in podcasting and in all digital marketing efforts. And so we have been on this journey, experimenting as we go, learning from some of the professional videographers that we've been working with, and I guess working out what we feel comfortable with and how to do video well. And so for this particular podcast, the one you're listening to right now, the Pod Like a Pro podcast, we wanted to have a video element, but we didn't want to get a professional in. We just wanted to do it ourselves. We are the audio professionals, but we're not the video professionals. And so we went on a bit of a journey, didn't we, Nat?
We did. We did go on a journey. I mean, one of our main principles is to keep it simple. So we were trying to do video in the simplest way that we could. So we were wanting to record on a device with microphones plugged into it, so it would be easier to edit. There wouldn't be any many syncing issues with the video, and it didn't go as well as what we thought it would when we actually got down to doing it. Did it?
Yeah, I think the main issue was that the audio quality wasn't as good as what we are used to with these really great mics, and that bothered us. The other issue was that it was hard to edit video. So we really needed to be one-take wonders, which we can be okay at, but not always. And so then the editing process was more difficult when you had video. And then the third element was that we had to add our music in at the beginning and the end of a video, which was tricky because then that required syncing up again as well.
And I think this is the thing that a lot of people say when they get into podcasting, is that it's a lot more difficult than what they thought it would be. It's a lot more involved, and that can make things very overwhelming at times, and it can make things, even for professionals like us, and it can also make things take a lot longer to do them than what you think they will. And I think the big thing that we learn is that there's that temptation to be a jack of all trades and master at none. So we had video which looked good, but yeah, it was that audio that really bothered us. But that brings us to our second point, Liz, which is it's okay to change things if they're not working.
Yes, exactly. So then we talked about this and said, look, this audio quality for this episode is not what we wanted. What can we do to change it? And we have decided now that we will go ahead with recording our episodes with that audio first in mind. So we have got our good microphones back. We are not in a studio together, so we don't have to do that video there. We're actually doing it over recording equipment through, podcasting software equipment. And so that means that we still have a video element, but that video element is going to be used just for our socials and for people to find us through those things rather than doing a whole episode in video.
And the thing about doing the whole episode in video is that we had to stand really close together. We had to make sure that our lighting was okay. And whereas recording on this online platform, the framing is a lot easier to do. You have your window, I have my window. Our lighting is a lot easier to control. And of course, our audio is being recorded at high quality on each of our computers. So we know that that audio quality is going to be good. And the way that we actually came to this was by doing the first thing, which was trying new things, trying to do something differently.
Yeah, and so I think that we have actually found this really nice sweet spot for us that is a short, snappy podcast that goes out once a week that we can do quickly, efficiently, and and get it out with good quality every single week by doing it in this way. And I think that that's a really important part of the process as well, is to work out what works for you and for your audience so that there is that consistency as well. Which brings us probably we're up to point 3.
Yes, which is just being on that journey of continual improvement, looking at what you're doing and really reflecting on it to work out if it's really serving your audience in the best way. The thing with the audio quality that we were concerned about was that with the audio, the audio was okay, but it was okay good enough for our audience, because we really want to get into your heads and really help you do what you want to do with your podcasting. So it's reducing those barriers to the content, which is really, really important. And I think that just being continuously aware of what you're putting out is a really important thing to be focusing on.
And also that probably is part of being continuously aware, is to openly and honestly listen back to yourself. We know that it's really hard to listen back, but it's one of the best ways for you to learn. So listen back to your episodes and go, did that work? Listen to it in the car when you're driving, maybe a week after you've recorded. So you feel a bit separate. You've kind of half forgotten what you said and you're driving in your car off to somewhere else. And so you're having a listener experience, far more authentic listener experience than what you were doing if you're right in front of the microphone and recording and doing all those sorts of things, and be really honest with yourself about the bits that you like, the bits that you don't like, because creating any content is complex and you need it to sound authentic and you need it to sound smooth before you put it out there, because putting things out there that doesn't sound that good can actually be detrimental to the purpose of creating it in the first place. So I feel like there's a bit of it's a 50-50, because there is part of this is like, have a go, get it out there. But the other part is, but also don't put things out there that are really poor, because that could be detrimental.
Particularly when you've got somebody who might stumble on your episode and that's the only experience that they may have with your
brand. Yeah. And just like we want to get our brand colors right and our words right, and we want to, we want it to be a seamless experience across all the different mediums and the different ways that somebody might interact with your business or your brand or your organization. The same should be said for anything that you're making in regards to podcasting or videoing or any of those content creation sort of digital work, because you want people to understand who you are by having a similar sort of experience through all those different mediums.
And I think the thing to add with that is you're human, so it's not going to be 100% perfect. So don't try to go 100% perfect.
Yes.
You can get in your head, and I think, as you said, Liz, it's good to have that distance between producing something and then reviewing it, because you don't want to get stuck in that brain loop of I'm not perfect. Oh, this isn't going to work. But I think being, as you said, being authentic is the main thing, and that's why we're sharing our dirty laundry with this episode.
Yeah, and I think that there is such a huge difference between being perfect, which I actually would say is the opposite of authentic, and being sloppy I suppose, saying that nicely. But being authentic is having some ums and ahs, having some stumbles on words, having, little moments, because when we talk authentically, that's what we do in real life. Being sloppy is having poor quality audio, is not having a microphone at all, is not having, not having thought through what you're actually going to be talking about and just getting on there and saying, oh, okay, hi guest, so tell me a bit about yourself. Or I'm just going to read out this bio. That's sloppy compared to being authentic. And perfect is actually going to take away from the authenticity, because you might textbook sound perfect, but you're not going to sound like a real human. That's how I feel about it.
If you're too smooth, it can sound a little bit soulless.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the human that is relating to your listener? I hope that we've given people permission to have a go and make mistakes, Liz.
Yes, that's right. So going back to those 3 points, it's good to try new things. It's okay to change if things aren't working. And the main thing to celebrate is that continually looking to improve to serve your audience. So yeah, exactly. Have a go. Have permission to experiment and to simplify when needed.
And enjoy the journey. You're probably not going to get it right first go. So it's good to give yourself that leeway as well.
Now, if you would like to find out more about how we can help you to take your podcast to the next level, head to podandpen.com.au.
And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode.
And if you do love this podcast, please do us a solid favour and tell one of your podcasting buddies about it, because the more people that listen, the more we can keep making this.
And until next time, happy listening.